What is up, guys? I'm Will. I run C-Sharp walkthroughs. How are you all doing? It's been over a week since I streamed. I'm just gonna do some housekeeping. I'm gonna just check make sure I'm actually online. I have to check. 1 second, guys. You know the drill, guys. If it's not your first time tuning in, it's gonna be such a chilled stream. Just gonna make sure I'm online. I'm gonna go off screen quickly and just make sure I'm actually. Yeah, it looks like I'm streaming. I think I'm online. Let me know if the levels are okay, guys. It's gonna be a chill stream. It's gonna be really fun. I want to make some more progress on Parallax Engine, my 2D game engine. I'm gonna be coding a scene. So, guys, although I've been absent from streaming for a week, I don't want to say absent, but like I haven't been streaming in like a week. But in that off-screen time, I've been kind of grinding. Hold on, guys. I've got two of the same website up, off and on screen. I just want to change it. So I'm just cleaning up my tabs so my stream can be quick. I had two live streams, both of which I had to unlist. The second live stream I unlisted, which was like about a week ago or less, like within a week ago or so, I don't know. I was having weird issues, like it just wouldn't upload onto my archive, so I had to just unlist the video. Super weird, but I did stream twice. So I'm just hoping that this stream goes public, like there's no issues with processing on YouTube. I actually don't know what happened. Yeah, so let me give you guys some context. So it's actually good I'm on this tab. This is my website, C# Snippet Store. And if I scroll, I have a plug for this Parallax Engine UWP. What is Parallax Engine? Parallax Engine is simply a game template. It's a C# project, UWP, so Universal Windows Platform project. And I'm presenting Parallax Engine as a set of classes that literally just help C# developers build 2D games. It's as simple as that. I can't get simpler than that. And that's all it is. And I'll hop into the Visual Studio. I'm gonna just jump straight into the fun. Now, actually, I have to go back to my browser. In Parallax Engine 2.0, I'll just play the video so I can demonstrate what it could do. I hope there's no ads. So this was one of my previous live streams, and I had Parallax Engine 2.0 running. Now, this was a nice framework. I like the code base. But the issue was that the code base was really my code base was really messy. So I could understand what I wrote, but how could other developers understand, even with documentation? This is what the engine could do at the time, and I've improved it. I've actually improved it. Like I was satisfied with this. I released the code base on this particular website. I was playing around with stuff. I could have a 2D scene there in the background, as you can see, a character. In the foreground, you can control her, moving at a fairly silky frame rate. Different things happening. And I have the documentation, which I still need to complete. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not going to lie. I need to complete this docu. So I've got the documentation for Parallax Engine. I will continue writing this. I will. But I do need to update it now for Parallax Engine 1.0, because the code base is kind of changing in dramatic ways. Let me go back to the home page. So I'm going to hop straight to the code, and I'm going to walk you guys through what's going on here. What I've done here, so from what I just showed you guys, this code, all of my project, I'll open my Solution Explorer. So this particular show, I'm going to just be literally coding a scene. I'm going to make a 2D scene, a background, a foreground, and hopefully some controls. Let me see my copy. I want to control like a girl character, like a girl swordswoman, as you saw. I still got her sprites, so I'm going to use them. I'm going to stream my assets, stream my PNG files, convert them into bitmaps. That's what my code base does. I'm going to actually walk you guys through it. So I have some namespaces here: audio, behaviors, lighting, maps, netcode, views, models, and controllers. And I had to really overhaul the data flow. That was what I was working on. I just had classes doing stuff, right? And you can still see that here, because look, I've got classes on the project working directory, my draw class, resources upload, like resources class, my update class, so all just here. And I was like, I can't just continue like this. It's just not good like design. So I started to add some modularity. So even though I have these namespaces, it's not just by structure, but it's kind of by like behavior that these classes interoperate. So I have a data flow. I have a sort of data flow going through here. I'll try and walk you guys through it. I keep clicking the wrong things. Let's start with the main page, because if you work with UWP, you'll be familiar with the main page. It's kind of like your root class, you know, it's a partial class. This class is coupled with the XAML page, although we're using as minimal XAML as possible. This little walkthrough today, this live stream, assumes some fundamental C# UWP knowledge, but it's not essential. You can follow the main principles of what I'm showing you guys. I hope that the screen resolution is okay. I think I'm streaming at 720p, 60 frames per second, but my setup is a little lightweight. Guys, if the stream cuts, it's because I had a power cut. I've been having frequent power cuts in this where I live right now. I will be up and running if that does happen, but it will take a minute or two, like it will take a while. But I do apologize in advance if there's a power cut. I really hope there isn't. Alright, so main page. Any of you familiar with UWP main pages, you're met with this kind of class, right? And I only have just over 100 lines of code here. The idea is that we're not really working with XAML, we're working with Win2D, which is one of Microsoft's libraries. Win2D is a neat little graphics library that sits on top of, or Win2D sits on top of Direct2D libraries according to Microsoft. And basically, I can develop 2D, I can draw 2D graphics that are quite fast actually, considerably fast 2D graphics on screen, from bitmaps to vectors, and even like pixel effects. If you want to go that deep, you can actually like have bitmap effects or pixel effects, like per pixel processing, stuff like that, according to the Win2D documentation, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, so what I'm doing, just a really quick 2-minute breakdown if I can before I start coding. With Win2D, you have this, if you want to make games with leveraging Win2D, you gotta construct this class called canvas animated canvas control. With animated canvas control, it's just basically a viewport that allows you to see what you're drawing, what you're rendering, what you're drawing essentially. I will run this because I do have a very, very basic scene. It's just like a sprite of that girl character that I showed, just one of her frames of standing animation, which I managed to get just rendering on the screen. So I got some drawing going on. You want to invoke first you want to construct 3 classes: animated resources, as you can see here, animated draw, and animated update. With my animated draw, for some reason, I put a reference to this main page, which may not be that optimal, but I found that if I wanted to reference any classes and I want to maintain, I don't want to get instancing issues, I just had to make sure that I'm referencing the correct instance of my classes, because there's some classes that I'm constructing certain classes only in main page. So I thought, okay, I will pass a reference to main page when I construct animated draw, because the bulk of my game is literally in the draw class. That's where I'm invoking my animated draw event. I have here, let's see, I'm invoking animated draw somewhere, the event, let me see. Here, I think. So I have a bit of validation. So I'm just taking some of my coffee. When you design, when you want to build a game, a 2D game, say, you need assets. You're probably working with graphics like bitmaps. You're probably working with sprites. So what you got to do is you got to load your resources. So there's a bit of an order in Parallax Engine. Loads resources like all your sprites, all your bitmap graphics, all your PNG files, all your audio. If you have audio, I'm going to extend it to accept different file formats, not just image files. And then the pipeline is that then animated draw is invoked and the animated update is invoked. These, I believe, are 2 separate threads according to Win2D. So there's the draw core thread and there's the update thread. And you can put like update logic in here. You can put draw logic. Honestly, you can put arbitrary logic in both. But you know, for like consistent design pattern design, you probably want to just pertain this draw thread to draw logic. And there are particular classes that pertain to this particular event. So you do want to just kind of like make sure it's draw logic in here. And update logic can be anything from controls. I put control logic in my update class. So if I go to animated resources, this is my animated resources class. And what it does, before there was so much magic flying around here, but but I did reduce it a little bit, but I did have to maintain some stuff just so I don't get lost when I was kind of refactoring things. So the way it works is you construct this class. Here's the constructor. Animated resources. This is more of a walkthrough than a tutorial, to be honest. It's kind of a high-level walkthrough, and I'm going to go through building the scene after this little summary of what's going on here. The idea is that, let's put my coffee. The idea here, I have a list of string. I probably want to avoid whiteboards. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it probably. It's going to be kind of a varied stream. But I already explained it before. So I have a list of lists of string in debugging mode. If I can expose this, it will make more sense. So, man, I'm in two minds. Let me see. Okay, it loaded really fast, so I'm going to just use the whiteboard. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. So there's not a whiteboard stream like I do sometimes, like on my old DirectX walkthrough, but I will be using this just to demonstrate some concepts. So I have a list of lists. So, because me talking is quite hard to visualize, so I have animated resources, which is a class that I construct. So when I construct this class, there are two main functions. I think it's a void function, I'm not too sure. I load my file paths. So I load my file paths. So if I have, say, my girl character, I named her Valkyrie because I like that name. Valkyrie is an awesome name, in my opinion. So I have a Valkyrie folder, and it's funny because I'll show you guys. In case any of you are wondering, the working directory, so where I'm storing all my assets, is a hidden folder. Every Windows application has access to a hidden folder, and you store metadata in your hidden folder. It's a great place to store things. I'll show you how to access it, but you have to enable visibility of hidden folders in your Solution Explorer, but I made a shortcut earlier. So this is my hidden folder for my Parallax Engine, and it's local to your app as long as you install your application onto your system. So I'm going to go to local state. Image file path. Yeah, this is it, I think. Is this it? I think so. Image folder. Which one is this? I've got two hidden folder shortcuts. I think it's this. Image resource file paths. Let me double check that. Parallax Engine logo. I think I'm in the wrong place. Let me double check it. If not, we'll just go to debugging. Is it this one? No, it's not this one. There should be an image folder there. Let me double check this, guys. I might be in the wrong directory. I just want to make sure this is correct, so I'm not going to some random directory. What did I do? Because I referenced a particular. Oh, I'm working in the base directory for some reason. I'm surprised about that. Okay, forget what I said, guys. I'm not working in my hidden folder. I don't know why I'm here. Current domain. Okay, I'm working in my current domain base directory. That's a different directory. I'll show you guys what that is. But you can access hidden folders in Windows. It's pretty handy stuff. As you can tell here, I have like a file here, like a file path. I'm not using it. What I am using is my working directory list. So UWP. As you can see, I'm referencing this Valkyrie folder under assets. So here's first I have to go to binary. I think bin stands for binary, x86, because I'm working under x86 target CPU architecture. Go to debug, because I'm in debug. I'm in my debug state, I guess. Debug build of my application. And you want to go to Apex. Now this is the working directory that this base directory refers to. So as you can see, oh gosh, sorry guys. And I just clicked the wrong app. Oh my gosh. I just clicked paint.net. Sorry guys. I just wanted to side by side. Maybe okay. Anyway, so I have here assets, as you can see, is referenced here. I want to click it. I have a Valkyrie folder over here, and the curious thing is that let me just cross this out. My PDM pinned on there. Don't need pinned on there right now. The curious thing is that my sprites are named like 0, such and so forth. I didn't give them like actual names. Man, I just want to cross this out. There we go. Man, I don't want to update pin on it. What am I doing? So, okay, my bad. Anyway, so my Valkyrie sprites are numbers 0 to like 32. Yeah, 32. And this is good because when you write in loops, you're incrementing. So you have a natural counting mechanism. So you can use your counting mechanism, i.e. your incrementing index, to reference your sprites numerically. That's why I numbered these sprites 0 all the way to 32. Just saves hassle. So bearing this in mind, this way of referencing my file paths, I'm going to hop straight back to my whiteboard. So Valkyrie folder, name of my character, 0.png. So this function, I have load file paths, grabs this, I have a for loop. So for index is less than 0, index, sorry guys, I did that wrong. That should be, yeah, index. Oh my gosh, how am I forgetting this simple basic things? For index is equal or sign 0, I suppose. Oh, what's this? Oh, get a notification. Sorry, that was a notification if you heard that, guys. For index is assigned the value of 0. For index is less than my count of my file path stored, which could be an arbitrary number that I assign. I already know that I have 33 files because 0 to 32, 0 index is 33. So I can just say something like I don't know, folder count. Index will increment, right? So I get my file path. Now the thing is, because I've named my files 0 to 32, so I have 33 files, right? How do I, therefore, oh, let me just get my eraser tool. How do I access the 0 PNG? How does the program know? Well, the index is assigned the value of 0. So I can just say Valkyrie delimit, folder delimiter, index. Well, I actually need an eraser. So I could have the value of index, which is 0. I can call toString to convert that to a string. I can concatenate with the plus operation my string, and I can just literally have quotation and write PNG. What does that mean? I have a folder, I have a file path now. And so from this is the first function, and the second function, I have a, I think it's void. Oh, I think I'm returning. Let me double check it. So where am I? Animated resources. That's what load animated resources does. It's a void async function. Then I have this async void load bitmap from file path. So once the file path is loaded into memory, I then use the file path to create a bitmap image, right? So let's just call this pseudocode function load bitmap. Okay. And oh yeah, I store this file path in the list. Remember I said I had a list of string, right? There's a reason I have a nested list here. It's quite handy when you're dealing with like multiple sprites, like multiple characters with multiple movesets and stuff. Because then you can have like 2 dimensions, right, to your collection. you have a list, your outer list holds another list. So I could say, this is list 1, and it holds like rows of lists. So I have list number 0, list 1, list 2, list 3, list 4. Oh, that's, do that again. List 4. And then these lists, so these are list 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in these lists, I have another list. These lists go like horizontal, right? So I have list 0 holding element 0, element 1, and more elements. Let's just say A. Let's use letters so we can differentiate. So you have lists going kind of like, if you think of things, if you illustrate this, it's almost like you have a list going this way, you have lists going this way. And we're using that because essentially, if this is Valkyrie's moveset, let's say this list constructs, this is Valkyrie's moveset. This could be her standing animation, which is like A, B, C, D, E. And then I could have her running animation, which could be like this. It could be like 4 frames. I'm using 4 frames when I do run cycles, my artwork and illustrations. Her run cycle, I don't know, see her jumping animation, like this. That's how we're accessing it, and everything is just like 0 index and stuff, so it's so easy to access. Because the thing is, if you know that you basically index, like here, I index the first frame of a light attack is number 6.png. If you know that, and you know where you loaded your list, let's just say it's 1 frame of animation or something. Let me just do this. Let's say A, B, for example. So if I know this is 6.png, it's a B, but let's just say it's a 6, and I know I'm in list 1, then I know exactly what frame I'm actually accessing here, right? Frame B. That's what I'm essentially doing, and that's what this load bitmap does. So it's the same structure as the file pathing, but these are actually bitmaps, canvas bitmaps. This is what the class is. Right, so that's what this is doing. So here's the nesting. So the outer list is constructed. We keep count of the outer list here, construct a slot. In the nested list, I construct the slots here. I'm using the add function to construct slots. That's how you can see it there. So you can see the illustration there. So once I have Valkyrie's moveset, which right now in this particular project is just 1 frame that I did, just so I can draw onto the screen quickly and see that things are working. You'll notice that this is void, so it's not returning, but there is globals being updated, which is this assets class, which is a list of list. It's a list class. Now this assets is visible. Is this OS assets? It's a property that my assets property pertains to this asset field. My field is private, but my property is public. The advantages of using a property is quite simple. You can put functionality here. See, it's behavior. You can't put behaviors with fields. Fields you can just declare and construct classes with fields. See what I'm doing? So I'm constructing this Boolean primitive type as false. There's no behavior going on apart from the construction of my data type. But if you use a public property, you can put events here, you can return, you can set. That's the behavior here, that's the advantage. So I made this a public property, and there's 3 references, and I'm going to show you how this works. So this, holding my Valkyrie folder, my Valkyrie assets, is visible to this class, my draw class. Now this is cool, because it might, oh my gosh, what I showed you guys, let me see if I can refresh your memories. Refresh all of our memories. I'm on the wrong page. If I quickly run to my video, let's use this for example. This is a very old version of Parallax Engine, but I made a really, I think, quite a nice little demo. To render something like this, it was a different framework, so I don't want to use that. For this one, because you can even see the code base a little bit through this. I don't know if I can show you the draw class in this video. I have to get kind of lucky. This is the draw class, guys. I think. Yeah, animated draw. It's quite hard to see, but this is my animated draw class. Look at how many lines of code there is. There's so much magic flying around. Alarm is going off. Sorry, guys. So many magic numbers, so many like nested statements. I looked at this, I can't release my engine 0.1.0 like this, can I? So what I did, I kind of refactored things. So I maintained behavior of my overall program to draw sprites, but if you look at the draw class, it is literally like this. I mean, the draw function is this. 38 to 67 lines of code, and most of them are comments. Oh, sorry, that's the constructor. One line of code renders my Valkyrie sprite after you load the resources. This line 82, and that's me. And to achieve this, I had to like implement some concepts, some kind of like game engine concepts, I suppose. So here I'm looping it. So these the draw thread runs at 60 frames per second. But here I'm stepping through a count of my Z buffer. I'm going to talk about what my Z buffer is. And in my Z buffer list, I have like a reference to all the assets I want to draw on the scene in order. So I can draw scenes in order so that you can maintain like you have clarity of what's being drawn on the screen at what time, like in what order, better said, than what time. I'm constructing an animation class that references my Valkyrie sprite. See, I have get canvas bitmap list over here. Let me see what this does. So here's what I'm doing, guys. It's a bit hard to hop onto what I'm saying, but hopefully you're just kind of in a chilled manner. Will hopefully make sense in reference. I'm gonna actually release this build. Any of you are interested in building 2D games using CSharp, Universal Windows Project, and you don't want to start from scratch, I'm gonna release this on my web store. This is a QR code, so visit my web store if you want. I will probably release this on the, I was gonna say on the Microsoft Store. I will release a game hopefully on the Microsoft Store. The art has taken ages to work on. It's not even coding the game, it's the artwork that's getting me, because I'm doing this like kind of solo, this particular project. The artwork is really just like not slowing me down, but I'm propagating through artwork right now. It's insane how long artwork takes. Anyway, so there's some components to understand here that we need to get through so things make sense. I have a Z buffer. I have an animated resource controller, and I basically have my list, which I already showed you what that refers to, my assets. What is the Z buffer? F12. I'm gonna jump to the definition. I considered, as I was going through my code when my code was kind of messy, I was like, I don't know what's being drawn on the screen at like what order. I couldn't make it out. So I decided to build this Z buffer class, and what it does is essentially a delegate type. This class revolves around this delegate type, and what this delegate does, it encapsulates a method. So I can take a behavior and encapsulate it as a variable. I can overload my variable essentially, and just like pass it around my program. So what this essentially does, I construct the class. I'm populating two lists. I'm populating two objects here. My Z buffer, which is, where is it? My Z buffer delegate is this class, Z buffer delegate, public static Z buffer delegate, which is my delegate. Oh, sorry guys, hold on a second. Z buffer delegate, delegate voice, static Z buffer delegate. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't even read it there for some reason. So I started from the top. I got confused myself. Delegate type, I named the Z buffer delegate. I'm taking a canvas bitmap, which is basically the object that I want to draw on screen. So let's say Valkyrie, my girl character, where is she? This character is loaded as a bitmap character, as a bitmap files type, a bitmap object. That's what this pertains towards. Canvas animator draw event argument. So this class allows me to draw on screen. This class has a member, which is the drawing sessions property. And with drawing sessions, I can then, which you can see here somewhere, here we go, drawing session property. There's a draw image function. This allows me to draw onto the screen ultimately. And so I'm calling, when I overload my delegate over here, first I have a list of these zbuffer objects. So every time I want to load an object on the screen, I call my buffer, I add to my buffer over here. I must call to utilize the zbuffer, you need to call populate buffer to add buffers, to add slots in the zbuffer list, so that Parallax Engine knows, okay, there's like 10 sprites that are going to be ordered on the screen, or maybe just 2 sprites, background and foreground, right? So I'm adding them upon this zbuffer. I'm adding elements in my zbuffer list upon calling populate zbuffer. And then drawing session calls is just basically the method, the behavior that calls the draw image function, which draws onto my screen, like a graphic, like Valkyrie. Which I then encapsulate this, as you can see, I've encapsulated my function here. Zbuffer delegate is hooked to this function. It's kind of like an event. So now, what does this do on the outside? Back to animated draw. So I'm working in a static context because it's just easier. So I'm able to call my zbuffer list, and I'm just accessing the object stored in my zbuffer list by index. See, there's the index. I'm using the square parenthesis, which is the index. I can access by index using the square parenthesis. And I just access what graphic I want, right? And I'm just drawing it on the screen. So that's as simple as it gets. The implementation is not as simple, but in the sense that it took a bit of involvement from me. But yeah, once I got it set up, it's really good, because then it's about preemptivity and planning. So you gotta know, as a developer, if I'm using this engine, I gotta know I want to draw 2 things on screen. I gotta know then to populate this buffer with at least 2 slots, and then I call the slots that I want to utilize. The way I'm animating is that I created an animate sprites class. I'll jump to it. Because I thought to myself, okay, what if I have Valkyrie at 10 frames per second, a running animation of 10 frames, and the background is at 2 frames? So I've got 10 frames of animation at 60 frames per second. I got 2 frames of animation in the background at 60 frames per second. How do I draw them, at the same time? That's why I developed this animate sprite class, which independently it would draw on every frame. It will draw every frame of every sprite according to how many frames each respective sprite is assigned. That's all it does. So I won't go through it line by line, but that's what this does. So what you need to consider if you want to use Parallax Engine and you want to construct a class you want to construct animation using this class animation. If I go back to animated draw, all you got to do is overload animate sprites with your target canvas bitmap. I'm using my canvas bitmap list element, accessing my slots by index, and your animation per frame. So how many frames of animation do you want each frame to be on screen for? I put it as 1 because there's only 1 image, and you have to overload the bounding rect. Bounding rect. Oh, this is for the e.drawing session, I think. But anyway, you do need a bounding rect anyway. Rects hold the rect struct, a rectangle struct, or rect struct is what contains your image on screen. And I'm drawing it, and that's all it does. So this is all it is. This engine is actually, this framework, this code base is quite lightweight. This is quite high level stuff. Like, it's not very low level. Like, it's quite high level in the sense that you're not thinking about DirectX. You're not thinking about, devices, swap chaining. That's all taken care of by Win2D. This is just drawing. I wouldn't even say this is rendering. This is drawing. I am on the drawing level right now. I am not really at the render level. Rendering is taken care of. It is drawing that we're concerned with at this particular level. That's why this is quite simple. Saves you a bit of time when you're developing 2D game, right? If you happen to use C#. So let me run this. I think I have everything up and running. So when UWP loads this application, Parallax Engine, Hopefully we see just a image of Valkyrie. It'll be blurry because it's kind of stretched. I have like a small sprite here. It's only like 200 pixels. 260 by 360 pixels, my Valkyrie. But I've blown it up into like 400, so it's kind of blurry. But I'll show, hopefully I can see it on the screen if there's no bugs. I think last time I checked this program there was no bugs in particular. So I'm just waiting for UWP to load. So as Parallax Engine is right now, this framework is kind of good to go because I've already released 0.2.0 on my store. This is in a better state than 0.2.0. So I may actually release this code base by the end of today. I'm not making any promises, but I will see if this is in a state where I can just kind of release the code base and like just roll out this code base version, this build. I do want to add a few more features, but I don't want to bloat what this is, this Parallax Engine, because I really want to create a canvas. I want to hypothetically create a canvas where developers can be free to be creative how they develop their games at this level. If you want to draw a scene using the Z buffer, you can. If you don't want to use the Z buffer, you don't have to. You can literally just call e.drawing session here. There's the E argument. E just pertains towards canvas animated draw event arcs and in the E. So when you call on the drawing session using canvas animated draw event arcs argument, you can literally draw here. You don't have to use the Z buffer. The Z buffer is just there for as you're scaling a scene, and there's like maybe I'm making a bullet storm game. I say bullet storm. I just use the term bullet storm generally. Let's say you're flying through a conduit or a pipe, some kind of like horizontal on rails pipe, and there's like literally 100 sprites coming at you, like 100 bullets or something. Then the Z buffer is really handy because then you can sort of like you can batch a bunch of sprites whilst keeping track of what's on screen. In particular, the depth order. Excuse me. But if you have just like a column of e.drawing sessions coming at you on your code, it's really hard to know what is, spaceship 67 out of 100 spaceships on the screen, right? It's kind of hard to tell. And that's what my original code base was doing. It was quite hard to tell, oh, I have Valkyrie running across the screen, but I'm like I have a block of code that pertains to her running animation. Then it's funny because I wanted to update the game. This is actually what happened. So I wanted to add like a samurai or something. I wanted to add another. I was actually making a Sonic fan game. Funny tangent. This is the scenes loaded. I'll talk about my Sonic fan game later. I used to be a big Sonic fan. This is a big tangent. I used to be a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I am still somewhat a fan, but I really want to make a Sonic fan game. Guys, let me know if you want to see a Sonic fan game. I'm quite happy to make one as long as Sega don't mind. I don't know, I'm just joking around, but I want to make a Sonic fan game. This is my scene. It's so simple. It's my Valkyrie character. Might get a link to where I got this asset. I got it from a website, a free website for assets. I'm not affiliated. It's just a really cool website. It's like itch.io, but it's called Craft Picks. Maybe I'll leave a link because it helped me, so maybe I can help you guys. That's the scene. Literally just one frame of animation there, rendering 60 frames. It's just there, right? So guys, without much further ado, let's get straight into this. Let's get into let's expand this scene a little bit. So I want to actually put a background. I don't want just a white background. Where do I start? The best way to start is to actually load your graphic. So what you want to do, you want to tell, this probably is improving because I'm on the main page and I'm overloading my graphic. I don't like overloading passing my, what am I trying to say? I don't really like using main page to like put too much logic, because if I'm loading like say 100 assets, 100 graphics, let's just say like Valkyrie and like maybe a castle in the background, a skybox or something like that. Let's say I have 100 PNG files of like rocks or trees. I don't want this to be 100 lines of current domain base directory tree 1 tree 2. What I want is like a loop that accesses things incrementally. So I have like 4 lines of code loading like 200 things. That's a lot more easy on the eyes, right? But for now, I'm really tempted to make a for loop for this, but it doesn't make sense as such. I'm gonna hard code it. Not good, but I will improve it. But I didn't show you guys one thing, and that is my animated resource controller. I'll show you as I'm doing it. Because what I didn't want, let me see if I can get my whiteboard back up. The way it works. Now this is where the behavior component of my like file structure works. A main page class. Main page can see animated resources class, my animated draw class, and my animated update class. Main page can see that. But let's say the draw class wants to access the resources, because I need to essentially stream my Valkyrie and I want to stream a background. I have another class which is my resource controller, because even though we have the freedom of all classes having scope of each other, we kind of don't want that. Kind of want some like healthy restraint, so that certain classes can see certain classes. Not every class is visible. This is security. So the way it works, the resource controller uses behaviors that gets or sets. Right now, just gets assets from animated resources, and then I can call this one animated draw. Right. So in order for animated draw to see what the resources are loaded, you gotta go through the controller. That's why it's just I'm kind of borrowing from the MVC architecture, but I'm not really like, I haven't studied MVC too comprehensively, so I'm just kind of gleaning what MVC like behavior would be, because my resources draw and update are all under my models namespace, which pertains towards, like, generally speaking, behaviors. My resource controller is under my controller's namespace. And what this does, controller, it basically just, controller just controls data flow in my program. So I know, what are the advantages of this? Why not I just make my members public? Yeah, I could do that. But let's say, that's good if I was developing this app, like I was using Parallax. I'm thinking about who are the developers that may use Parallax Engine? How can I make life easy using Parallax? I'm thinking about more than just me. So it's easy and predictable to debug, because I know, okay, if I'm getting assets streamed in at a certain class animate resources, I know I'm going through the controller, so I already know where the debug is. I know where the workflow is. I can see the flow. I know it's somewhere here, because I have here this function, populate folder paths list, which all it does, it calls this function, which let me see what it does. Forgot the top of my head. I got this folder path.add, and this is the folder path, like the Valkyrie folder. I'm just adding slots so I can store my folder, and obviously I'm using my for loop to get the file name, and I can concatenate, so I got a complete file path later down the line. So yeah, just data access, so just data flow really. So anything pertaining towards moving data between like sort of like business logic and what's on the screen kind of thing, I use a controller. I'm using here my animated resource controller for resource data flow. So I want to load a background. So first, what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a background image. I'm going to make it very simple for now, just to make sure it works. I have a grassy plains background. I'm going to copy it. I'm gonna go back to my Parallax Engine directory. I'm gonna look for my working directory, binary. I think it's binary. Debug app X. It comes to a point where I'm not just nuts and bolting. It's really a overarching structure thing. That's why I'm not really coding a lot right now. I'm actually like creating the environment for which my framework must run. And things get to that. The more you code, the less you code in a way. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. But anyway, I'm just setting up my environment. So assets, Valkyrie. Oh no, I'm not Valkyrie. So I'm gonna make I have a background folder. Oh, I was already there. Okay, cool, excellent. So I'll do. I'm 0 there. I don't know what this is. I can't see it, but it's like a graphic that's 1000 by 4. I'm not using that. I'm gonna rename it for now. I might need it. BG background. Oops. Oh, sorry guys. Oh, goodness me, I shouldn't do that. I put my keyboard on my laptop keyboard and I was pressing buttons. I don't want to delete something on accident. It's terrifying. BG. I want to use this grassy plains, but I'm going to name it 0 for reasons of like for loop reasons, as I explained about for looping and stuff. So I have this file path, this working directory, assets, backgrounds, right? I'm gonna want to remember this. First things first, I'm going to make a reference to that particular my PNG file. This should be in its own behavior. It kind of is, but I just don't like how it's set out. It looks messy, I'm not gonna lie. But for now it works. But it's something for me to improve. So again, I'm in my working directory, but this time I'm gonna go in the backgrounds. Oh sorry, no, I did that wrong. Assets, left that as assets. Not Valkyrie, but my backgrounds folder. Again, why can't I just concatenate here, PNG? Again, if I was streaming here and I did that, it just makes life a little harder when you have like an assortment of different graphics and you want like one general purpose behavior to load everything, right? Because then what happens, I'm doing something here. My animate resource controller is accessing this function which populates to a list. See this folder path list, it references a list that actually I'm adding elements. So what happens next, now that we've taken care of that, if I hop to, let me just quickly check something here. So this kind of works in the sense that you don't have to, this function, this class, this set of behaviors doesn't bloat. The more you have, the more that, this is a controller, so the more that you have behaviors to load, this class doesn't bloat. I'm treating this class as I'm treating the class as a controller such that it shouldn't bloat with the scaling of the functionality. It does one particular thing. That's what I like about it. So logic passes through this class. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, cool. Let's go to animated resources. I'm looking you guys for the data flow. So as I've added to the count of my list, if I go to say this particular line 154, you can see I'm referencing my Valkyrie folder file path. This should really be general purpose, I'm not gonna lie. This should be general purpose. I shouldn't duplicate code in the sense that I'm referencing Valkyrie folder twice. I should general purpose it, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I can find a way to do that now. Because again, I am using indexing. Now I know that my folder path count is 1 because I only added one element, which is Valkyrie, in my controller. See, that's a list of string. That list of string is here. It's referenced. My list of string is referenced here. So in my controller, I'm invoking populate folder path list, and there it is. Folder path.add. So every time I add, the count goes up. So the logic is that as the count goes up, my for loop increases the looping, right, by 1. So this is going to increment by 1. So it's going to be from 0, from 1, the range of 0 to 1 is going to be 0 to 2. Yeah, because it's a count of 1 to 2. Sprite sheet entry is actually kind of manual, so it's an enumerated list. So this, what sprite sheet entry does, is a simple thing. I don't even need to use a whiteboard. I'll do it anyway. All it is how many entries in my list. Okay. So I hard coded 1 because I already knew Valkyrie was going to be 1 entry. Because I might not know how many frames of animation I want Valkyrie's standing animation to be, but I know it's 1 at this where I'm now. But there's also a background to load, so I'm gonna add another entry. I'm gonna put comma, background equals 2. Keep it like this. Sprite sheet entries count. This is an index. I'm probably using this for something else. I think I was using this before I updated my code base, but there's no references to this enumerated list here. This sprite sheet entries index, but I'm not going to cancel it just yet. I might need it. It might come in handy this. And this is good because it's, again, I can implement. Oh, actually, no, I thought, okay, it's already implicitly this is indexed 0 to 1. Okay, enum entry 1. I want to change that to something else. I'll leave it for now. It should be a better name, like first frame of my Valkyrie character or something. But I'm gonna say background. I'm gonna keep it there. Now this is where I might need to be a bit more strategic, because this is a hard-coded element. Can I access index enums by indexes, guys? Do enums support indexing? Let me check it out. I don't know. I don't think so. Is IEnumerable supported with enums? Probably. IEnumerable base class. What's going on? It's probably a better way to do it. There's my enum entries. It might be better that it's just a list, because I might need to, yeah. Because the idea is that I don't want to hard code things. It might be better if this is a list. Because I can't be like, oh, there's a background, it's not going to work, I think. I can't be like this, unless I'm, if this element acts, but there's no element at. I can't access my variables by index. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this to index. I'm going to make it a list. I'll explain what I'm doing in a second. If everything doesn't, if nothing breaks, I should still have my Valkyrie graphic on screen. because now I can, because the problem with enums, it's quite hard to programmatically access entries. But now, where am I? Now that my sprite sheet, this particular list, what was an enum, I changed to a list now of int. Now I can easily access my index. This range pertains to my outer list. So each move set is an outer list element, right? So 0 would be like Valkyrie's moveset, and then 1 could be like my background. That's why I changed it to a list. I don't need to typecast, it's not necessary anymore. So then when index becomes 1, okay, this is it. This is the thing. So you see how I had 1 and 2? They pertain towards oh my gosh. Frame counts. Valkyrie had 1 frame, so I had 1. Background should even be 2, it should be 1 frame. I messed up. But how do we pertain this kind of structure for a list? This count checking thing. So when I populate my list, it can kind of be in a little bit like hard coded here. Sprite sheet, add. I kind of do have to be a bit hard coded because I'm working with the Solution Explorer. So I have to kind of tell my program how many frames of animation I must consider. First I'm going to say 1 for my 1 frame of Valkyrie, and then for my background it's also 1. So I only want to construct 1 element on my tree row, my background row. So I'm going to call it Valkyrie frame. Say background frame. Alright, sweet. So now the next challenge is how do we programmatically access this? There's some hard coding here which we need to get rid of. The answer would be to just have this Valkyrie in another list of string. The folder name. I have the folder path. Maybe I can use the folder file path. In fact, I should be using that. Local storage folder path. Local folder. I think I was storing my folder paths in the list. I should be using my list. Where's my controller? I can't find where I am. Populate folder path. So I have a folder path list. I should be using this. Because this, what I'm adding here, this folder path pertains to in my main window, this working directory assets Valkyrie, working directory assets backgrounds. I'm going to use this. Just excuse me, guys. So I'm going to go back to animate resources. And instead of hard coding this, I'm going to, which means I don't need to stream this location, but it's okay. What's the name of my list? Folder paths, okay. I'm not going to delete this, but I will comment it out for now, just in case I need it. Because I know streaming the folder path just seems quite handy. Folder paths. In the index, because I'm looking at my outer index, instead of using slot, this range slot, I'm going to use index 0. Sorry. Yeah, I think that's right. So index 0 pertains to my outer loop. For the paths, okay, is that right? Was that my inner loop? Index for the paths, spreadsheet entry. Okay. So asset index. I might be repeating myself here, I'm not sure. What index am I using? I think it's this one. Add. Yeah, because here I'm adding in my nested list. Because that's my list, and I'm adding it. List of lists rather, and I'm adding to my list of lists. It does get a bit confusing sometimes. Well, debugging will expose things. I think it's index. It's the folder paths because I'm referencing my folder paths, so hopefully I'm using the right indexes. So which means now that I'm accessing my full folder path, I don't need this bit, but I do need the programmatic slot with that, which I'm two-stringing and adding PNG at the end. So now, what I've essentially updated is that this handling these folder paths, these file paths, is now programmatic. So all I have to do is literally just add folder path entries here, and the inherent list, like structure, pertaining towards my indexing, this takes care of what gets loaded at resource level, if I'm not mistaken. Goodness me. So what I'm going to do is, I don't even know if it's going to load. I'll be right back, guys. It's going to take a short 2-minute break. Be right back. back. Sorry for the delay, guys. Fixing some coffee. I have a kettle in here. Don't ask. This is easier, I guess. It's more convenient. Right now. That's what the sound is a kettle. I live in the UK, and it's a common trope that UK people like tea. Americans like coffee, apparently. We have English breakfast and we have Americano, so you can kind of see, but I happen to love coffee. I can't even find coffee on stream. It's funny. Fun days. Alright, guys. My coffee is exquisitely strong. I'm gonna hit run, and hopefully we should still have Valkyrie on screen. Just making sure everything is set here. Let me just go check my dashboard. Let me hop online. Oops, wrong one. Make sure everything's okay. Any comments? Oh, hey guys, I see some comments. Sorry guys that took so long. What's the comment saying? Hello, anyone here? Can I prepare a Discord YouTube channel? Yeah, dude, I have a Telegram group, but I'll make a Discord. I don't know if that guy's still here. This gentleman, Zote. I'm just writing on the chat, I have a Telegram group. Leave a link in the... I should really be checking the comments. Sorry about that, guys. So basically, I have a Telegram mastermind group, and on the Telegram group, you can join the fun. You know, you can communicate at a more interactive level with what I do. I'll have a link after the stream. I'll update this link. I'll update this stream archive with a link in the description. But I also have I will make a Discord. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna make a Discord today. I have a Discord. Just made a Discord last week. I'll make a group. I think more people are on Discord than Telegram. I'll make a group. We can all just kind of like, you know, share ideas, build apps together and stuff like that. I'll do that today. I'll update the description, and yeah, you will hear more about the Discord. That's cool. Good idea, guys. All right, sweet. So where was I? I'll try and check the chat more often. So do interact. Let us all interact. I like this. I'm just trying to make sure there's nothing else to do. I think that's it. Oh yes, of course. There's one more thing I forgot. So once this just takes care of the resource loading. So now I want to actually draw onto the screen. So I was telling you about the Z buffer. So this is the one thing I am a little bit hesitant on. With my Z buffer, it's a little manual in that every time there is an object to draw on screen, Valkyrie was one, I have to call populate Z buffer. But now that there's two objects, so if I put a comment here, Valkyrie, I must populate the Z buffer with another entry. I can use a loop to make this a lot more easy on the eyes, but I'll just do it so it's a bit more straightforward to look at. Background. So now the Z buffer knows in the first element I have Valkyrie, and in front I have the background, but it really should be the other way around. I should load my background first, and I should load Valkyrie in front. So we're going to deal with that. But first, let's just try and get a picture on the screen. Let's try and get our background here. So I'll populate my Z buffer. Oh, I didn't talk about command lists. I'll quickly talk about this. This command list stuff is quite interesting. The concept behind a command list is that you can encapsulate any kind of function or behavior you build in Parallax Engine, and you can call it arbitrarily. That's what a command list is. That's all it is. So what have I encapsulated? This animate sprites. So anytime I want to call animate sprites, I've encapsulated it onto via this delegate feature on this class. Very similar to Z buffering. So anytime I want to say randomly call an animate routine, I can just use the command list. I can look at the element in the command list that stores animate sprites, and I just call it anywhere I want. So I do need to work on the data flow for this, but that's what I'm doing. Let me go back. Animate draw. So I'm not utilizing command list right now for my background, so I'm not going to do anything, but just the background for the Z from via the Z buffer. Check the dashboard. Hey there, getting more people. How you all doing? Someone else has just joined in. Alright, cool. So, where am I? So now I've done that, I'm just making sure there's nothing else to do. This bounding rect, now this was a debug feature for me to test my drawing, because I'm using this bounding rectangle, which I named bounding rect over here. Not very programmatic, is it? Again, this should be a for loop and these rects should be in the list. But because I just want to illustrate this really simply, I'm going to make two bounding rects. I'll call this background rect. I'm going to give it some bigger dimensions. I'm going to give it like 700 by 700. This is going to hold the background, so it's a bit bigger. I'm going to reduce the size of this one to like 110. I think that's width. Let me double check that. Width and height. Height would be like 140. Now, I probably do want to put this in the list because it seems to me that it depends how I call this. Right now, I'm using a for loop to draw my elements. I want to talk about timing in a hot minute, about how the entirety of my draw core is running at 60 frames per second. But when you think about things pertaining towards my threading, pertaining towards logic calls, this for loop could have 100 cores in 1/60th of a second. So you can essentially build, you don't have to wait a 60th of a second to build a scene, right? You can use looping to build a scene in 1/60th. I don't know how to, it's quite hard to describe because there's two ways you can go about it. I can step through animations. It makes sense to construct everything in that one single frame of animation, a 60th of a second. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why I'm using like looping to just kind of encapsulate things. Because now my range is 0 to Z buffer count. I have 2. So now on the second loop, what do I want to do? I want to load my background. Valkyrie's loaded on the first iteration. I want my background to be loaded on the second. So everything here is generic except for a few things. Z buffer is generic. Z buffer list is generic. Index is generic because it's going to increment from 0 to 1. Excuse me. Animation is generic. Animate sprites call is generic. But some of these are magic, and we have to deal with that. So bounding rect should be bounding rect. Background rect. That was a bit confusing. This one should be. We're going to keep it as 1 because it's 1 frame animation, but this should really be general purpose as well. Get canvas bitmap list. This is going to get via index my second graphic, which will be my background, hopefully, if everything goes correct. So really, I just have to update the rectangle. I can put them in the list. I had issues putting recs in lists before. I don't know if that was just me, but it's like I couldn't access my recs. So I'm going to quickly make a list of rect. This isn't a draw core, and I don't like that, because with draw cores, it's, again, bearing in mind, guys, that I'm constructing this at 60 frames per second. That's a lot of memory. So it makes more sense to have another behavior. Let's make a private void. Oh, actually, I've got a better idea, guys. We don't have to construct our recs here. I've got a class that does that. If I'm not mistaken, let me double check. Models namespace. Let me close my controller's namespace. Let me collapse my controller's namespace. Behaviors. I have a render list. Oh my gosh, we're getting a lot of lists here. Now, what does the render list do? This class encapsulates some behavior to construct rects. That's all I do. So I have here construct rect. You overload this function with xy width height called xy width height overloads, and I return the rect. Simple as that. Couldn't be simpler than that. Draw recs is a delegate. So every time I reference draw recs, I'm actually referring from draw recs. I'm referring to this function. So the best way to deal with this is to I'm considering making this a static object. Let me check, how did I do in my Z-buffer? Yeah, I have static for my delegate. It's better that my delegate is static. Then I can access my delegate in a static context. Wait, let me double check that. Was my delegate actually static? My delegate's not static, but the Z-buffer delegate can, yeah. It gets confusing. The delegate is not constructed as static, but what is constructed as static is the object that is of type my delegate. If that makes sense. So I'm gonna go to render list. I'm gonna make draw rect static. This is the delegate type, draw rect, and this is the type. This is the object of type delegate draw rect. If that makes sense. So now that this is static, our class is public and our object is public. We can access this function in a static context via our delegate type here. There's behaviors you can attach to this delegate system. If we were to quickly reference, I don't have the documentation, but on MSDN/Learn Microsoft, then we can, look at all the features we can attach to delegate types. Well, that's why delegates are quite useful. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go back to animated draw. I can't find animated draw. Go to my solution explorer. So I'm back on my animated draw, and what I'm gonna do is update this feature. So instead of like hard coding rects at draw calls, very inefficient, I'm gonna construct rects probably in a global scope, because we don't want to be constructing rectangle structs every 60th of a second. We want to do it once. And this is called initialization, guys. If we have a concept where we construct a class once and we're accessing members of our class that we've constructed once, that's initialization. So what I'll do, because I'm initializing my Z-buffer and command list here, I'll follow suit with my render list. I have here my render list already declared. Let's see, do I have comment there? Yeah, I was already preemptively doing this off screen, guys. So use render list to generate list of recs. Recs are useful because recs are overloaded to contain drawing session methods. Recs are overloaded to certain e.drawing session methods. Having recs in the list I wrote helps for index accessing. All right, cool. Render lists, and we're gonna construct it. New render list. But the funny thing is, I'm actually accessing my delegate type in a static context. But this might be useful. This could be useful, but this could be a challenge. I could make a hitch here, because if I'm accessing an object in static and I have instantiation, we might have an issue. But for now, what I shall do, that's why we need a list. Because if I'm accessing if I go to the render list, if I'm accessing this in a static context, we want to keep it in memory so that we know we can keep track of things programmatically. That's how I see things. Tracking this in memory is inherent when we call it instantiation, because we can have 100 instantiations. But if we are accessing this feature, this behavior in a static context, we want to store this behavior in some kind of like collection. I could have aptly named a render list here, but I don't want to bloat this particular class, because if I have a list here, now this is the issue with Z-buffer. I have a list here and I'm adding to the list, which I might need to update, but I don't want to bloat the class. So if I'm bloating this, because I'm looking at this, am I doing add? Yeah, only when that's called. Anyway, I want to construct lists outside of this, so I'm going to return my rect in another list outside of this class so I don't bloat things. Funnily enough, I could have a list of render lists That might be a better solution. But then eventually, I'm actually just returning recs. It's best I just keep it a list of recs. Let's see what happens. I need to run the program, see what happens, see what works. So I have a list of rect. I'll call this rect as in rectangle list. I'll construct my list of rectangles. I'll do it here. A new list of rectangles. And the reason it's not render list right now, because now when I call on when I go here, render list in a static context, I now have access to my delegate type, which is draw rects, I think. Is there any members to overload? Yeah. And then I'm passing in my overload as the dimension of my rectangle. Excuse me, guys, that I want. And this one's potentially my backgrounds. I'm not using this method, this approach for Valkyrie. I hard-coded her in terms of her rect dimensions, which I need to update. That's why you're seeing magic numbers flying around here, like 700, 700, right? That's what I'm fixing here, in a sense, if this hopefully goes through, if I haven't got any functional bugs. So that's why the initialization logic has the magic here. The magic has to go somewhere, and I'm putting magic numbers in initialization logic for now. So position, top left of the screen, depending on how you're looking at this. For me, it's like this: 0 for X, 0 for Y, width 100, height 120 seems quite appropriate. Let's make this 140. Okay, cool. And what am I doing? Render list, draw recs. Now this is returning a rect. Render list, draw recs. That's why I'm overloading it. And because it's a rect, I now know, I'm aware that I can store my rect in this rect list, right? So I'm gonna have my rect list. I'm gonna access the add function. I'm gonna parenthesize my return rect. Boom, and then I basically have statically accessed rectangles stored in memory in a list. Easy, and it's quite convenient. If I use a loop, it's even more convenient, but right now I'm just hard coding it. So because I'm hard coding it, I'm gonna leave a comment, background, rect. So I know this is not Valkyrie, I know this is my tree background. I have like a background of a sky and a tree and grassy plain. Okay, so I don't need, I do need the first one because it's still hard-coded. I need to update this. But I don't want to break anything. I'll probably have to break it anyway. I have to probably break my code because I want to I want to render my entire scene on one line of code. That's what I'm trying to do. And to do that, I need to general purpose everything here on this line. So instead of calling bounding rect a hard-coded rect, I have my rectangle list. I have square brackets so I can access my index. I'm going to use this range, which counts for how many objects in my Z buffer. Right now it'll be 2, 0, 1, index, 0, index, 0, 1. And I'll use my index as a range, as an indexer, so here. So on index equals 0, I load Valkyrie, which means I don't need this anymore. And at index number 1, oh, hold on guys. Rect list only has one entry. Okay, so now I need to make 2 entries. So but because the draw order is Valkyrie then the background, I have to reverse it to my background and Valkyrie. I must make sure I'm ordering things correctly. But I will swap it around after after I can validate that my background is loading. So this first one should be Valkyrie because she's the first asset I'm loading. I need to swap her around because she needs to be at the front of the background. Valkyrie has to be in the foreground, not background. I'll change it. I'll correct my order, my draw order later, soon, hopefully. My background should be something like 700 width. Actually, I'll go for like almost full screen. I'll go like 900. And then for height, I'll go 900 as well. Kind of stretchy. Kind of a box. No, let me do 900 by 700 because I kind of want a rectangle box. Okay. Cool, sweetness. So I have my rectangle structs. I'm adding my rectangle structs. Hopefully I can access my rectangle structs. Before I was like, years ago, I was doing this approach somewhat, and I couldn't render rectangles from a list. I don't know what was going on. Maybe it was a different thing, not my list. Maybe it was my rec structs somewhere else. I don't know. But I'm hoping this works because I really need the programmaticness for rec list. Alright guys, let's test this out. We should probably not see Valkyrie, but we should see like a grassy background. By grassy background, I'm talking about this here. We should see this graphic because I'm loading this in front of Valkyrie. But I hope it shows, unless I missed something, we might have to debug. I'm gonna go through my dashboard quickly, see if there's anything here. Okay, so now I'm just waiting for Win2D to load. Win2D takes a little bit. If I had a really fast PC, it would probably take seconds for Win2D to load. Or rather, better said UWP than Win2D. I do need to upgrade. I think in about 2 weeks, and towards the end of the month, I'm going to upgrade my machine. Or I'll either upgrade my laptop, or I will build a workstation. One of the two. I want to build a workstation, but I have to port all my work to my hardware, which shouldn't be difficult. I'll use GitHub or something, make things easier. But I have to install the tool, like the Visual Studio is like the tool chain right now, in the sense that I'm only using VS to contain my engine workflow essentially. Okay, let's see if we've got the graphics drawn on screen. I might have missed. I think I missed something, but I'm not sure. Maybe I missed like I didn't load my resources. There's a typo in my folder path. I don't know, but let's see what happens. It's rare sometimes for a program to run flawlessly first time. Wow, see, I told you. I said it, guys. I called my own fault. So we're halfway there. I have 2 Valkyries. I'm referencing the wrong image. One of these pertains to the background. That's the bigger Valkyrie. She's quite cute. And the smaller Valkyrie is Valkyrie herself. So the thing is, I'm accessing the wrong object. I need to correctly access my background. So I'm going to cross that out. It wouldn't be at the draw level, because the draw only draws what is given, unless I'm not nesting my indexes properly. So the draw call is being given 2 Valkyries. That shouldn't be the case. You know what, guys? I think it's in my animated resources. Remember when I was having trouble with the indexing? I was not sure about it. I think it's this. I was using index for my file path, because you see the file path, .png. I'm probably using the wrong index. I think it's this one. This probably stays at 0, because the number of characters needed to load. Outer list. Ah, gosh. Okay, I can test it. I still don't think. Oh, index 0. Oh. No, I think it's right. I think that's correct. Okay, in order to understand this, I need to know what the range pertains towards. This range pertains toward the folder paths. So I should technically be using index, not index 0. That's why I went wrong. I think index 0 pertains towards the, of course, sprite sheet entries, which is how many frames of animation. So as long as I'm using the wrong index, I'm gonna have issues probably. I need to use index. So this increments to 1. This might stay as 0. That's why I'm having issues. I'm gonna correct this. This says index 0 for my, as you can see, my directory. But in order to get my folder path correct, not index 0, it's index. I'm gonna right click it. Right clicking takes so long sometimes. I'm gonna hit copy. I'm gonna right click. And you know what's so even worse, guys? I've index 0 here and index here. So I don't even know what's correct. Sprite file path. Let me just make sure this is right. File paths, yes. So, oh, hold on, guys. Folder path is using index. Okay. Sprite file path is using index 0. Make sure I get this right. Let me go to the sprite file path entries. Let me see what this actually is. That's my list. What values am I adding into this? 1. Okay. Valkyrie frame 1 sprite sheet entries index. 1 frame by animation for Valkyrie, 1 frame animation for background. That's strange. I'm gonna have to debug, guys. Make sure my file paths are correct. I'm gonna put a debug break here because everything it might be not my file path function, but my loading to bitmap from file path function. I think this is correct, but it might be somewhere here. So I am basically adding to my assets my canvas bitmap object, which is assigned a value from my sprite path index, my sprite file paths. So I gotta make sure that index and index 1 are referring to the correct sprite. So I'm gonna, in order to double check that, I'm going to place a break here. I'm gonna run my program in debugging mode. I'm gonna expose the file paths and see where I'm missing my background image, because I'm not getting exceptions. So I know it's not a syntax error. It's a functional error with the logic of my program. So right now Parallax Engine is just loading. Now we have here I've hit a breakpoint. So now I'm going to expose folder path, see if anything's loaded. Let me see. If I go to output, not output, sorry. If I go to locals, I'm going to the wrong tab. Oh no, it's the correct tab. So where are we? Folder paths. Oh, I've stepped through, so I can't see it. So I'm gonna have to I'll highlight it because I've stepped over it. So I'm gonna highlight it. Folder paths. Yeah, I got 2 file paths. Let's see what we got. Or 2 folder paths rather. So that's my Valkyrie one. My Valkyrie folder. It's really hard to see, guys. I'm sorry, but over here it says Valkyrie. Let me make sure that says backgrounds. Yeah, this says background. So here's correct. I have Valkyrie and backgrounds respective of index. So I'm gonna continue with my debug session. Now, when I'm looking for the canvas bitmap object, I want to look at the sprite file paths that I've stored and make sure everything's correct. So in index 0, pertaining towards Valkyrie's moveset, her entirety of her moveset, there's only 1 frame. That's Valkyrie PNG 0.png. For the moveset, technically, of my background, it's actually element 1. The entirety of my background is 1 moveset here. And oh, it's not even nothing's in there. Probably because I'm on the first incrementation of my loop. So I'm gonna continue, go through the for loop. Now this is interesting. Am I gonna step through this? It's count of 2, so I'm not having issues with that. Adding a new entry in my assets. No, that's funny. I actually didn't increment through that, which means the count is 0. My sprite file paths. Ah, okay, that's interesting. Oh, this is strange. Oh no, it's not strange because the outer list takes care of the moveset. So what's index? Index is 1. I'm using the wrong index, guys, I think. This is the moveset, which is 1. There's nothing in here because I haven't added it. Oh. Should I use folder path instead? What? But that doesn't fix what's going on here. My sprite file path. Where am I wait, I need to call check references. That should be 2. Shouldn't be 1. I'm gonna go to references. That's the issue here. I should have 2 entries in here, or at least 2 populated entries. I have 2 entries, but the second entry is not populated. That's kind of strange. Where am I calling .add for sprite file paths? Over here. This is where I'm calling add. So I did add. So somewhere here, something's going wrong. And again, I'm back here. So I'm going to restart this. I think it's my indexing. So I'm adding a new entry to sprite file path. This is for Valkyrie. It's the first time. First time I'm looping. Adding folder path. So if I expose sprite file paths, I have 1 entry, which should be Valkyrie. Valkyrie 0.png. That's really strange. I had it. Oh. I just hit an exception. What's the exception? Oh, that's strange. It seems it wasn't even an exception. Oh wait, what am I talking about? Sorry guys, I thought I saw try and I thought I caught an exception. My bad. I'm actually doing something wrong here. Asset index equals what's this? No, I did wrong, guys. Because do you remember I hard coded the asset index with my enum, but then I updated it. So this sprite sheet asset index was an enumerated list. I need to comment that out because I'm not using this, the asset index. But actually, better said, I need to update that properly. Why do I say this? I am keeping track of how many slots each moveset, Valkyrie, and my background respectively have. But now, because I'm using a list, not an enum, if I go to the definition here, sprite sheet asset index. I need to make sure I'm doing this right, guys. It does get confusing. Asset index. It's assigned sprite sheet asset indexes. Sprite sheet asset index. I'm calling the add on that somewhere. Yes. I think I should be using sprite sheet entries index because the way I designed it is that entries index has the 1 value here. This was an enum. Oh wait, where am I populating that? Why is it not doing anything? Let me copy this. Let me see where I'm using this. Find all references from my asset index list. I might actually populate that. I'm making an assignment to a list that's not even populated. That's the issue. So I know I went wrong. So instead of using this asset index, I'm gonna hit right click. I'm gonna paste my updated asset entries index list, which now if I expose it, boom, I have 1 pertaining to Valkyrie, 1 frame of animation, and the first element, 1 frame of animation, and 1 frame of animation for my background. But is this correct? This is more correct than it was before, I think. So I fixed something here. Index 0 is potentially my nested loop. So I'm going to continue. Okay. Index 0 increments. Let me restart this. Because I did have the backgrounds file path actually stored. So I just don't understand why I'm not referencing it anymore. Gotta check that out. I don't want to mess with my indexing because I do have two drawings on screen. Because I'm drawing the wrong object at one time. I'm drawing Valkyrie twice. Goodness me. Okay, so I'm just waiting for my program to load. Okay, we're back. So I'm adding a new file path. If we check our file path list now that I've invoked my add function, we should have Valkyrie's file path here. All the way there, 0.png in my Valkyrie folder, that's correct. I'm going to continue. Now asset index is 0. Oh, wait, hold on, guys. Where am I assigning asset index? It's scary because this is hard-coded. Asset index, where's the reference? This is the issue when I'm not using like .count. I run into issues. Oh my gosh, my eyes. Find the references. Asset index is equal to 0. Asset index is equal to spreadsheet entries. What line is that? Line 20, 160. Index 0 is what? 1? 0, 1. This is the issue. I shouldn't be using this. For one, I don't know about this assignment, why I did this. I think it's because if I refresh slot, I need to reassign it. That's why I'm making slot equal to slot. But slot needs to be ranged towards each move set, I think. The entries of each move set. And my program, Parallax Engine, can only know that with hard coding right now. Which means I need to correct my numbers. Which means this assignment, asset index, refers to how many assets I have stored. So before it was 0 because I was only loading Valkyrie. I must now change this to 1. So that's a reset. This is reset logic, so I'm not going to change that. Ah, here we go. Well, this one, set asset index. Am I actually calling this? I should be. I really should. I even made a function for it. I'll add that to my pipeline, but somewhere down the line, I'm not. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if asset index is kind of null. No, it's actually 0. Okay, cool. In that case, I need to initialize asset index properly. So I'll go to my constructor. Just trying to process of elimination, everything. Make sure I'm doing this right. Because I have 1 and 2 assets. Set asset index overload 2. Boom. Set asset index. Asset index is now. I've now initialized my asset index to 2, pertaining to my background and Valkyrie. So when I use asset index, before it was at 0. Now it's at 2, which it should be 1 for 0 indexing, but I'm going to keep it at 2. Why? Because my code should 0 index in my for loop. So this asset index will be 2, which is 0, 1. So already things are kind of strange here. So if I run this again, yes. I'm going to see what this range is. Before this was ranged at 0 or 1. I can't remember. From what I can tell, it was at 0. Ah, but it worked because now this is the issue. I did less than or equals to operation. I was trying to be clever, and I shouldn't really try to overthink my for loops. So what I'm going to do, now that I've fixed the 0 indexing issue, I'm gonna get rid of this kind of, what can I say, less than or equals to operation, and make it just less than, because I'm accounting for zero indexing, so I don't need to worry about it. I must have been onto a different approach earlier, that's why. So what I'll do, guys, less than asset index is already at 2, zero index, nothing to worry about, hopefully. That's why at 0 I was able to fall through into this code logic here. I was confused why at 0 I wasn't just stepping past my logic. So that's the first file path sorted. Let's double check it. Should be 0.png in Valkyrie folder here, my file path. 0.png, great. Try again. Boom. Let's see what happens. And then background should be hopefully background stored now. It's still Valkyrie. That's wrong. So let me see. Make sure I'm using the right index. I think it should be slot, not index. Folder path.count. 0, 1. What's the count? Is it not 2? Yeah, it's 2. So index is what value? Oh, because I've not incremented this bit. This is still looking at Valkyrie, that's why. I hope I'm doing this right. I've done it wrong, actually. Asset index. Be careful with this. To comment this. I must be careful. Loop through the number of characters. I don't like that naming. I'm looping through the range of folder paths. 2. I'm looping through the range of what have I got? Spreadsheet entries, which is the move set, which is 1 for each. Then now I'm looking at range here. I want to populate my file paths, which are the individual slots. So I'm counting 2 in this case. That's not right. I can use one of these indexes, I think. Slot is equal to slot. Slot is less than the inner list, I think. Index 0, hopefully. Because this pertains towards 1 frame of animation. This could be 10, which means this range would be 0 to 10. Or slot, which is actually 0 right now, to 10, or 1 because of the loop, to a range of 10. So I'm going to attempt to change asset index to index 0, because this pertains to my moveset entries. Which is here, and then I get the value. Oh, I didn't even check that right. Spreadsheet entries. Does get a little confusing. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do this wrong. So I don't like using global flags sometimes. Alright guys, give me a minute to just lock in. Let me sort this out. Okay guys, I'm just restarting UWP. Just testing out my indexes. I think I got confused with my indexes. Let me make sure I'm getting my indexes right. Probably a bad start. Slot is assigned 0, slot is less than 0. I'm not sure about this. Am I using asset index? If I'm not even using asset index, then this try catch is quite confusing. This is not being used. I shall comment this out. If I can verify I don't need asset index, because I'm not using asset index, so I don't need a try nor a catch, then I'll change my code up. Because what I'm doing, if this is catching, this is so dangerous. If I'm catching, I'm manually incrementing an index 0, which I'm literally using. So I just, yeah, I hopefully I fix my loop. Oops. Okay. So index 0 is going to be 0. Actually, should be 1. Index 0 is less than entries, which is 1. But then 0 indexing. Let me see what's going on here. Let me just step through and see what happens. It's weird when it's 1, so I will use less than or equals, although I'm kind of not feeling it. Doesn't seem right, but I think I can work around this. Because a 0 index range of 1, a for loop aside from 0 less than a range will just not even parse. Because 1 is the limit, so nothing happens here. That's why I use less than or equals. Oh gosh, guys, I don't even know anymore. So that's my file path. First one should be Valkyrie. Double check. Valkyrie 0.png. Slot is index 0, 0. Index 0, 0. Index 0 is less than sprite entries. 1. Same should be for this. Where's my folder paths? Which of my folder paths are right? Yeah, it's background, so it should be accessing the first element. So I really need index 0 to increment. Index 0 increments to 1. But I think the pre-compiler skipped all of this because it knows that nothing's going to happen. I could be wrong about that. Let me double check that. Okay, I was wrong. It looked a bit weird how it hopped. Index 0 is what? 1. I stepped out of it. Mm. So on 1, index 0, amazing index. Spreadsheet entries is 1. I think I should be using a different index. Oh my gosh. Add as new spot, because this is always going to reset, which is a bit confusing. Slot. This slot actually needs the element in my moveset, I think. So it might be safe to use slot. I'm adding a new file path. I'm really overcomplicating this. I'm gonna use slot. I think slot pertains to the moveset, and that's what I'm trying to update at the end of the day. In the inner nesting, the outer nesting is Valkyrie. The outer nesting is Valkyrie in my background. Inner slot is the element of my Valkyrie and respective background elements. So why don't I use slot as an index, right? This might work, but I might have issues later down the line. I need to really make sure things pertain properly. I'm gonna reload this. That's why before I was hard coding it. Man, it's not good. I was really working around things before, so I'm really just trying to get to the issue here. That's why I'm doing things this way. So again, I've loaded UWP. Check my dashboard. Hey guys, looking at the comments. I'm gonna put the Telegram group chat, the Telegram group QR code on the screen. If not, I'm gonna put it in the description. So if you wait until the archive of this video is up, I'll type it out, because you might be seeing a historical view of the archive right now. There might be lag on the stream. So I'm going to, I shall put the Telegram group link in the description of this video after the archive is up. There we go. Cool. So yeah, I'll have the mastermind, the .NET mastermind group, Telegram group up on the description when this is archived, and I'm gonna make a Discord as well today. Alright, cool, let me step through this. This should be Valkyrie. And now let's see if I can make my background. So now I'm going through my outer list. Now I'm going to my next character moveset, because the outer list is just one. Now for the next character should be my background, or my next element in my list. Stepping through, I'm adding a new element. Hopefully it goes down. Oh, still, man. Slot is assigned value of slot. Slot is equal to 1. It's because I'm outside the range. Slot is assigned the value of slot. It should probably be 0. There's a reason I did this. There is a reason. But for now, I shouldn't play with my for loop too much. So slot is of the range. If I make this generic, slot is of the range 0 and index 0. Let's try that. So I remember. There was a reason I did this, and I can't remember. It was for my old architecture, so maybe it's not so good I pertain my old architecture. slot is assigned 0, slot is less than or equal to index 0. Where's that? Index 0 is of the range of the value that's stored. 1, so that should be 1 at some point. I'm gonna restart. Hopefully I can get my background loaded. So now I've just restarted UWP. I've just restarted Parallax Engine. Check my chat. I don't think I typed that. I will make a Discord. Right, so this is Valkyrie getting populated. That's good. The back. Ooh. So when we get up, let me see. Let me scroll up a little bit. So now, scrolling. This should be my background. Hopefully, I can reach this logic. Let's see what happens. Adding a new element. My element's ready to be assigned. What's index? Index is 0, slot is equal to 0, slot is less than equal to 0. So this should, my logic should execute. There we go. And this is more accurate than my previous logic actually, I think. So having that slot assigned to slot was really risky stuff. It's good to just adhere, now I'm adhering to the standard for loop practice. I know what to expect, that's good. Okay, cool. So if I look at the folder paths, or better yet, still my file paths, hopefully my second element, indexed at 1, should be my background. It's still Valkyrie. I don't know what's going on there. Again, sort out. Oh no, that's right. The first one should be my background. Am I wrong? Am I right? Let me see. No, I'm wrong. Okay, so something's not right. So my slot is, again, I'm using slot. We shall fix this. Index. Okay, I know what I'm doing wrong. I shouldn't be using slot at this point. Is it? Or should I? That's why I made the assignment. I have to improve this. Index is 1, sprite file paths 1, that's fine. Which I already created, so that should remain 1. Then this should be different. It shouldn't be index. So I'm looking at folder path. Where am I incrementing outside? The index 0, I think. Index is 1. Index 0. Technically, it should be index 0. I'm gonna try it, guys. Even though it doesn't feel right. I don't know, using index 0 doesn't feel right. How am I incrementing index 0? It should be incrementing in the correct manner. Index 0 is 1. It's because I've got all these hard-coded values, man. So I'm messing up. I really have to eliminate hard coding, but I need it for the, for my program to know that there are 10 frames of animation and such, like maybe 20 frames of animation. So, the index is the same. Oh no, the index is pertaining towards this range. I'll make that less than or equals. That's my Valkyrie graphic added. I need to make sure this is actually functioning with like more than 2 sprites. Adding a new file path list. With that greater than or equals, now my index increments to 1 and I can step into my logic. I'm using 1 and 1 pertains to my background. Add, I'm gonna check my file paths. Okay, but I stored it on the wrong place. I stored it in my Valkyrie slot. So index 0, wrong way. My file path should be 1. That's funny because index 0 should be what it is. So I'm going to do that. And I think I should do like this. Because I'm still using index 0 at the end of the day for some reason. I'm going to have to fix this. But for now, I think I can get the correct behavior. I can just about get the correct behavior this way, I think. Right, let's debug this, and hopefully I just have that background loaded. And then after that, after the background's loaded, then I'm gonna have to just like flip the polarity, which just means I load the background before I load Valkyrie. It's just a simple fix. So here I should be loading Valkyrie. Now I should be loading my background, hopefully. Just step into my logic over here. Now, let's have a look. Is this Valkyrie or is it background? Still Valkyrie, okay. We're doing this wrong, guys. Index 0 is 1. Slot is 1. Is it? The slot is still 0. Because it probably reassigned, that's why. And guys, that's why slot is equal to slot. Slot has to persist. It's a bit confusing. I'm about to explain about slot, but slot needs to transcend, like slot has to go outside and beyond this loop. Hence why slot is assigned the value of slot. Because I need to memorize, I don't know how to describe it. I'll probably try and draw it on the whiteboard. Because slot is always being assigned to 0 outside of this loop again. But it needs to like not do that, I think. But then I doubt that. I'm doubting my own logic. But that's why this doesn't make sense, I don't know. Keep it as it was. So as a sign that the slot will remain 1 while still incrementing within a range. Let me try that. Let me see what happens with this, guys. Because I don't want slot to reset to 0 outside of the range, because that messes things up. I will persist slot outside of the for loop. And I'm going to monitor the results. I do have a refresh logic for slot to pertain slot to 0. It's down here. It's kind of weird, but that's the way it's working right now, I think. I'm just waiting for my program to load. Guys, the game I want to make is like a 2D fighting game or RPG. The only holdup for me is what's slowing me down, propagating through my like game turnover pipeline, is the art. The artwork is long. This stuff I'm dealing with is the quickest part of it for me. The artwork is longer. Alright. That should be Valkyrie loaded. There we go. Second entry. Slot is assigned. Slot should be 1. Slot is less than or equal to 1. And I still doubt this, because what's going on, I'm using this inner slot, but it might have to be this way because sprite file path index 1, that's the outer nesting. So I'm pertaining towards this. Still waiting to be populated by add. Folder paths, slot 1. I'm programmatically accessing 1 through my for loop. And what does that 1 pertain towards? This, my background directory here. This hopefully goes through. I should hopefully have background stored in slot 1. Hopefully. There it is, backgrounds1.png. That's the situation though. Doesn't this exposes that I'm doing something a little bit wrong, because I'm naming it slot. Slot should actually be 0. That's what I'm talking about. That's what worries me. So to work through that, because slot should be incrementing for my moveset, but I do have a range. The issue is not this. The issue is maybe this bit. Because I should pertain slot without breaking the outer for loop. Index 0 is equal to index 0, entries equal to. I need to understand on a fundamental level what this loop pertains towards. Every time I add it into my sprite file paths, I'm adding new objects, Valkyrie, and I'm adding my background. That's 2 elements. But I'm saying greater than or equal to 1. I think I should be doing greater than or equal to the count, or greater than less than the range pertaining to the count of this. This means I'm being programmatic. Ouch, I just hurt my ankle. Sorry guys. I'm being programmatic with my logic. I'm avoiding hard coding, and my values take care of themselves. Count is a range of 2. Index goes up to 2, although I will get an exception because I'm using greater than or equal to, so I'm going to probably preemptively get rid of that equals. This will then pertain to 1. Slot would file path will be 1 over here. But slot should increment to 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, which means I'm not using this, because slot should remain as 0, 1, 2, 3. But this should be folder path incremented to 1, which is index 0. So I need to make sure I'm using the right indexes. So now it comes down to sprite file paths and the folder paths. So this is my folder paths using the index. So I'm going to try and use this and see what happens. So index is folder path.count is 2. This is a range up to 1. So I should still hit this, but correctly. And slot will start at 0. So my naming convention will be the same. Goodness me. So now I'm going to reset this and reset my logic and try and start my program again. This is the thing, because once I get this working, I'll try and illustrate on the whiteboard why I'm doing this. Although just to close out, because I do recognize that my stream is now what? Ooh, over 2 hours. Wow. Okay, I'm waiting for UWP to load. Excellent. So now I'm gonna step through. That should be Valkyrie saved. Let me have a look. Valkyrie's graphic should be stored. Valkyrie's are PNG, that's correct. I'm adding a new sprite entry. I'm adding a new slot for a new slot entry for my background. Now let's check out indexes first. Index at 1. That's here. Index 1 is has nothing inside of it because I'm about to call add. Folder path. I did it wrong, didn't I? I feel like I did it wrong. I want index 1 for backgrounds. Index is 0, so I did something wrong. What's the count of this? 2, 0, 1. Probably because we're still looking at Valkyrie. We have to reset everything. So now that index, I think I'm going to increment index here, the outer one. So now index is 1. This is now for my background, hopefully. Although I think I've done something wrong. Yeah, let me see what's going on there. That's not correct. I'm going to have a look. It's because I'm doing greater thans and equals. I'm mixing greater thans and equals. I'm mixing less than. Sorry, I think I'm mixing less than and equals and less thans, and now I'm getting weird behavior. Goodness me. Let me try and fix my indexing. Sorry guys. I was stepping out of range, so my logic wasn't stepping through. I'm gonna use less than or equals, or less than equals, whatever. And then we'll try and analyze, post-analyze what's going on. It's really easy to get mixed up with indexing. Okay, anyway, we're here. So I know Valkyrie's first graphic is loaded. This should actually break. By break, I mean the loop should break. Count of 2. Because I'm adding it, but the problem is that index is still 0. So little by little, get rid of that. Reset. I can't look for index outside of the range of what my moveset is right now, because of the way I'm stepping through my outer index. It means, because I'm calling a behavior here every time I want to add a moveset. That's why I was adding like 2 Valkyries in one go. It wasn't right. I need 1 Valkyrie and 1 background from the right places in memory. I think I'm getting there step by step. It's just I have to kind of debug each change just to make sure I'm on the right track. Okay. Hopefully I go to the outer index. No. Index 0 is less than the count. Count is 2. Oh, I can't see it. have a better idea. I think this should be here. No, it should be here. Okay, it's really weird, guys. It's the same thing. Every time I fall from here, I'm still adding, so it's still the same thing. Guys, I have a fix for this, but it involves hard coding. What if I just have, because this, oh, but does it update? That's the issue. I'm adding a file path. Okay, I think I've got to the bottom of this, guys. A file path, every file path pertains towards every frame of animation for every piece of asset, graphical asset. That comes to account of, like, let's say, arbitrary number n for number. Let's just say x, for example. X is equal to 33 in this case, 0, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 33. It's not zero index in that sense. That number will persist no matter how many elements I add or subtract. Therefore, instead of trying to programmatically access it, why don't I just have an asset count? That's what I did before, didn't I? Let's just say asset count. This is just a value. It should even be an enum. And I was working with enums. But just for the sake of simplicity, I ain't gonna use enums because an enum connotates a list. And I'm not working with a list. I just hit a value 2. Actually, it's going to be 1 because I'm 0 indexing. That's why I'm using asset. I'm going to say asset 0 index count. Sorry guys, I know there's an easier way to do this, but right now my brain is a little fried. I'm fried from coding. Like, my brain is fried from coding, I mean. Let's just say I had 1,000 assets. This would be 1,000. Ooh, this would be 1,000. I have 2 assets, or it would be 999, whatever. This is now going to be 1, 0 index 0, 1, 2. And because it's relatively safe, I approach it this way, my code, because I think I made that update. Because what happens is that asset count. I'm not using that range anywhere else, so I can kind of just like keep it, and it's going to be one solid value. If I'm okay with that. Oh, I changed the name, that's why I can't find it. Once again, my alarm is ringing. So I have a range here. This should be, that's why I have 3 nesting levels. And I was so confused. I didn't say anything, guys. I was like, why have I got 3 nesting levels for something that's 2-dimensional? I nest the outer list. I nest the total count of sprites, total count of my graphical assets, and I do the total count of moveset. It's a bit weird. I could probably get rid of one of these levels. But for now, this is a set count. Now we're going to evaluate the results. Let's start here. Let's see what happens. There's always more than one way to climb a mountain. Alright, let me quickly check my dashboard. Can you show your game, man? I'm building it. I'm building the scene, dude. So I'm building the logic behind the framework that renders graphics. That's what I'm doing. So the game is not built. The game is being built. The framework is being built itself. And what I'm showing you is the draw logic behind rendering a frame. So when the inherent logic is set, then I can actually start to build the game, if that makes sense. But I can't build a game if I can't load assets. Do you see what I mean? So I have to load the assets. Like, I can't just, instantly make the game. Alright, sweet. So sprite file paths, that should be Valkyrie. Hopefully I've got my indexing right. This should go down, back out. So now that my count is 1 or 2, that I said, because there's two of these, my background graphic and my Valkyrie asset. Now I'm popping back inside on my nesting. Asset index remains at 1, 0 index for the count of 2 technically. So hopefully I still go down the logic, that's good. And now I'm adding new elements. Slot is its own thing. Slot is the moveset index. Ranged at 0. Slot is equal to 1. Slot is less than or equal to 0. I don't like that. Slot needs to be 0. That's where I'm going wrong. Index 0. Increment to 1. 0, blah 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 blah. 1 greater than or equals. Do that. What is slot? Slot is 0, 0.png, because my graphic is called 0.png. For my background, index is 1. My folder path here is 1 on my background, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm adding it to my sprite file paths. Have a look. Boom. I should hopefully have my background stored. I don't know why. Oh, I'm still storing it in the wrong place. Oh, okay, I know why. Because index 0 is 0. Slot is equal to slot. Is less than index 0. Which, because this is less, I just updated that to less than or equal to now. Let's rerun it. We need index 0 to be 1. That's why I did less than or equal to. They all are less than or equal to, so there's hopefully, and from a principal point of view, the logic persists in a consistent manner. My logic persists. Okay, I just stepped out. So index, my asset count is 1. Index is now 1, that's correct. Index 0, that is. Slot is reset. Index 0 is 1, sprite file path 1. Now I'm saving backgrounds in the correct place, hopefully. I'm gonna check it. So now I have slot 0 and 1 are populated. Slot 0, my first graphic is Valkyrie, as you can see here. My second one, which is indexed at 1, should hopefully be my background. I don't know why it's still showing Valkyrie, it's super weird. So it's still showing Valkyrie, but we're one step closer because it's in the second element. So we're gonna have a look at that. Folder path, 2 should be 1, index is 0, I will update that. index 0. Asset count. I can use this range because asset count pertains towards how many assets are there, which pertains to the folder path. So index should be index 0, I think. Obviously further testing is needed when there's like 10 assets, make sure everything persists. But at this stage, it should still kind of project. So if everything is consistent here, I should have consistent results even with more elements, hopefully. Alright, again, the magic of debugging, fun stuff. Without debugging, guys, it'd be so tough to code. Alright, wait for my program to load. I'm step out, so everything is looped once. I think sprite file path. I'm going to go straight to the action. I'm going to go down. Index 0 is 1. Index 0 is 1. Slot is 0. Sprite file path 1. Let's hope for the best. Boom. Backgrounds 0 PNG. Got it. So because the background is being loaded second, we won't see Valkyrie. If I'm not mistaken. We'll see. I might be wrong. Hopefully there's no functional bugs. I'm going to press continue. See what happens. Might have some kind of exception. Have a break. Have an arbitrary break. Funnily enough, let's look at the assets. Okay, so I have 3 objects in here. I don't know why I've got 3. Oh my gosh. I need to see what's going on there. I think I have a sort of like a superfluous object because I'm doing greater than or equal operations. It should really be 2 assets. At this level, I probably won't be able to see the file paths, but let's just see what's going on at the canvas bitmap level. I'm still getting the same results. That's so weird. Super strange. One second. Super weird. I cannot lie about that. Why is that? That is so weird. Maybe I'm drawing the wrong thing. Maybe I'm drawing just the same. Maybe I'm pointing to the same object. So let's go to the draw level. Let's hit up my draw cores and see what I'm drawing. Maybe I'm pointing at Valkyrie twice instead of my background. My range is 2. Okay guys, I might need to log off soon. I'm getting messages from a friend. I might need to make a phone call soon. I'm going to try and fix this quickly. For index 0, count is 2. Without greater than or equal is 1. So that means when index increments to 1, this is false. When it increments 0, that means index doesn't go to 1. That means z buffer goes to 0. When z buffer list should go to 1. Because I have 0 and 1. I have to be quick with this. So I'm going to equals. I'm going to restart my program. Guys, I'm going to turn off my camera. I'm going to still talk because I need my phone. This is going to be the last 5 minutes of the stream, guys. So I'm going to be really quick with this. So last couple minutes, alright? I'm going to turn off my camera. I'm still going to be here for about 2-5 minutes. I'm going to wrap up the stream, okay? Dropped. Sweet. Sorry about that, guys. I just have to use my phone camera. Or rather, better set my phone. Alright guys, let's hope for the best. I'm gonna hit continue. I'm so scared, guys. I don't know what I'm gonna get. I don't know if it's gonna be the background or not. Continue. Boom, no, didn't get it. Alright, let's have a look. So one should be Valkyrie, one should be my background. Index range 2, index 0. Index is 1, Z buffer list 1, animation, main page, animation controller, get canvas bitmap. Oh guys, oh this is what went wrong. I hard coded 0 because I thought I only had Valkyrie up. So actually what I need is this index because I've got my background, so it's not hard coded at 0, it's hard coded at 0 and 1. My count, so I changed that to 1. Index, I even updated my rep list index, but not the canvas bitmap, so I messed up. Wow. Let's hope that's it. I'ma hope. And let me just check something here. Okay, get rid of my break. And continue. Yay, guys, we got there in the end. Yay. Oh, whoops. So the issue though is that obviously it seems, big emphasis on seems, let me just maximize it, that my background is eclipsing my Valkyrie sprite, but I want to make sure that's actually the case. So I'm going to cross this out. Since I'm wrapping up the stream, I need to speak to my friend who's waiting for me. So I'm going to log off my stream in like 2 minutes, but before so, let's do this. Guys, where am I? Main page. Because I'm loading Valkyrie first, I'll put backgrounds on the top. Oh, sorry, no, I'm gonna load backgrounds first. I'm gonna load how to spell Valkyrie? Valkyrie second. Now we're loading the file paths in a different order. And now I need to make sure the rectangle structs are the correct dimensions. So 700, 900 now pertains to the background. So actually I'll just copy and paste this. So make sure I add the background first. Cool. Let's give it a shot, see what happens. Hopefully we have Valkyrie and the background. If not, guys, I'm gonna have to log off the stream. It's been over 2 hours. Oh, nearly 3 hours, wow. My God, I was surprised. And I have a friend waiting. She's waiting for me, so I'm gonna speak to one of my mates, one of my good friends. Guys, we have a sprite animation, yay! Now there is some undefined behavior in that Valkyrie's kind of jittering. I don't know what's going on there. Is it that I'm loading her second sprite very quickly, but I only specified... No, it can't be, because I have, I've only pertained towards... I only literally have one image of Valkyrie in the directory. Oh, no, I don't have. Oh, no, I have more than one. So maybe I'm going out of range and I'm loading one.png as well. I think that's what's going on. That's why she's looking a bit weird. There's movement here. But guys, we have a background scene and Valkyrie loaded at real time using my engine, my code base, my drawing engine. I like how it scales. Everything kind of moves when I scale the window. I quite like that actually. Guys, I'm going to leave the stream here for now. I've got to chat with one of my really good friends off screen. I'm going to catch up with her. She's abroad. And yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be live streaming again this week, most likely. I'm going to make a Discord today. Maybe I'll put it as a post on the channel. And please feel free to keep up with things. Keep up with my streams. And guys, a big, big, big thank you for tuning into what I do here. Alright guys, peace out. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Gonna log out. Bye guys.